Howdy, Bungie just dropped the brand new dungeon Sundered Doctrine, so let's go through on how to beat it. Before even launching the dungeon, be sure to go to the tower and talk to Ikora Ray so you can grab the Drowning Labyrinth quest. Then open up Savathun's throne world and look up in the top left corner for the marker that will let you launch the dungeon. Okay, now that you're in the dungeon, you gotta walk your way to the first encounter. Drop off that big ledge in front of you where you spawn in. You're looking for a big long bridge to walk over. When you cross it, turn left and jump up to the nearby ledge. Keep going on that ledge and then take your first right and fall down the hole in front of you. You'll find yourself in a room with many enemies, including a few subjugators. Just kill everything in front of you. When everyone is dead, a little hole in a nearby wall will open up and just jump through that newly opened door/hole. You'll now fall down for a bit. Keep falling down as far as you can go until you're at another area with a bunch of enemies. Kill those enemies, and when they're dead, look for a small waterfall somewhere in this room. In order to advance to the next area, you have to go through the little hidden passageway hidden behind that tiny waterfall. Fall down one more big hole, then look for this tiny opening in a nearby grate, fall through it, and congrats, you are now officially at the first encounter. The goal of the first encounter is to complete a puzzle that will open a door and allow you to leave the area, so don't worry about having to fight a boss just yet. Let's go over the layout of the entire area. There should be a large open room in the dead center of the area. If you want, you can call this the main room. Surrounding the main room, there should be 4 different hallways, each branching off and leading to their own room. 2 hallways on the left and 2 hallways on the right. Here's a very terrible drawing of the layout of the first area. I'm sure that in time, far better drawings of this encounter will be drawn, but because I'm making this guide on day 1, y'all just gotta deal with it. Again, 4 rooms, and my team decided to label them L1 and L2 on the left and R1 and R2 on the right. Look at the center of the room real quick. You'll see 3 lenses in the very middle of the room in kind of a triangle formation. These lenses can be re-angled whenever you want. Just walk up to them and activate them to change the angle at which they shine. They can't be moved 100% completely freely. They can only move into predetermined angles. If you look at the little red arrows at the base of the lens holder, it'll show you the position that you can angle that particular lens to. All right, ready for the TLDR of the encounter? You ever see The Mummy with Brendan Fraser? Just know that if you haven't, you're disappointing me a little bit. But you need to use the lenses to reflect orange beams of light. Starting from the main room, you need to angle them down one of the 4 hallways and into one of the 4 rooms I mentioned, so that the beam of light winds up shooting into the dead center of a giant wheel on the wall in the back of the room. Again, I mentioned there are 4 rooms in this area. Each room has 1 giant wheel in them. So how do you know which room to send the beam of light into? Good question. At the beginning of the encounter, which you can launch by just readjusting the first lens in the main room, a bunch of enemies will spawn into each of the 4 rooms. You're looking for the one room that has this, a flying grim called a truth speaker. The truth speaker, when killed, will drop a symbol on the ground. Don't worry, these are not new symbols. It's the same set of symbols from the Vow of the Disciple raid. If you don't know what those are, here are the official callouts right here. Memorize these if you can, or just have them up somewhere for reference. There's also a room nearby the first encounter. You can get there by turning around, I think, instead of launching the encounter, and it has all the symbols there if you need to look at them for reference. Anyway, when the truth speaker is dead and you see the symbol that they left behind on the ground, that symbol will be on one of the 4 big wheels in one of the 4 side rooms. Look around, poke your head into each room, and find the big wheel that matches the symbol left behind by the dead truth speaker. And that is the wheel that you need to direct the beam of orange light into, starting from the main room. If you're confused, don't worry, it'll be clear shortly. Also, in each of the 4 rooms, by the way, will be a subjugator. Kill them and they'll drop a lens on the ground, which you can walk over and pick up. So now that you hopefully know the correct room where the beam of light needs to end up in, head back to the main room with your lens that you got from the dead subjugator and start rotating lenses around to move the beam of light towards the room where you need it to go. Above the 3 main lenses in the main room, there are small activation buttons. Go ahead and shoot the activation button above one of those main 3 lenses in order to begin the light reflecting process. You might notice that some lens holders will be empty, but that's where you can walk up to them and deposit a lens that you got from a dead subjugator. This whole process may take some time for you and your team to learn, and by that, I mean learning the angles of where you can send the beam of light to from the center. It may take a few runs of you going, oh, I see, turn the lens this way, and turn that one that way, and now it winds up going into R1. or whatever. Either way, when you finally direct the beam of light all the way into the room where it needs to go and it gets directed into the big wheel on the back wall, congratulations, that is one wave done. You'll need to do 3 entire waves of what you just did, but the catch is that each wave of the encounter gets longer by 1 as you go, meaning wave 1 is just 1 round of angling light around, but wave 2 is 2 rounds of angling the light around, and wave 3 is 3 rounds of angling the light around. So let's say you're on wave 2. Your team finds the truth speaker and kills it, and from the symbol it dropped, you now know what room you're looking for to send the beam of light into. You kill a bunch of subjugators to get lenses, and you angle the beam all the way into the wheel on the correct room, and now you have to find a second truth speaker and do it all again, sending a second beam of light into a second room. On wave 3, you'll need to do the entire song and dance 3 times, back to back to back. Here's the order of how your team should be moving. At the very beginning, when you're looking for the truth speaker, each player should pick 1 room to go into. If one of you has the truth speaker, great, kill it and memorize the symbol that it drops. If none of you find the truth speaker on the first room you go into, then it must be in the 4th room that none of you have gone into yet. Whoever is closest to that room should go in there to find and kill the truth speaker. Find the room where the symbol on the big wheel matches the symbol from the dead truth speaker and configure the beams of light to go from the main room to that room with the wheel, and remember to kill more subjugators if you need more lenses. When the beam of light has made a full connection, everyone head back to the main room and start all over again by looking for the next truth speaker. The following image is from Reddit user Klisk. I didn't see this image until after I already completed the encounter, but this may help you connect the dots a little bit in terms of how you can angle each beam of light starting from the main room. Again, 3 waves of doing this. First 1 time, then 2 times, and then 3 times. So you'll be doing this whole spiel basically 6 times in total. When the final beam of light has been angled into the correct room and shot directly into the big wheel on the wall, congratulations, the first encounter is now over. When the first encounter is complete, a stairway will kind of appear in front of you and your team. Go down that stairway, then just start falling down and go down as far as you can go until you get to kind of a swampy area. From here, first find and go down a very long hallway, then turn right and fall down a big open hole. From here, you're gonna find yourself in a bit of a labyrinth. Start by turning right, then head straight until you fall down off a small ledge in front of you and find yourself in a slightly more open area. When you hit the ground, immediately turn right and you should see this, a large glowing square. But you see this piece of moss hanging down from the left side wall? You want to jump up to that ledge on the left where the moss is hanging from. From there, head straight forward and you'll know you're going the right way if you see this, a small red glowing light ahead of you. Jump over that red light to the opposite staircase and then it's kind of a straight path until you're out of the labyrinth. Turn left 2 more times and then fall down a small hole and you're out. You'll now be in a wide open area with a lot of dread. Fight and kill them or just run past them, and you're looking for a very specific bridge with a doorway at the end of it. You'll know you found the right bridge if it looks like this. It should have a glowing yellow crystal to the side of the doorway. Head through that doorway and go down a long hallway, but don't go to the end. Before you're at the end of the hallway, turn left because you're looking for this, another hole to fall down through. Fall down and you'll be in this weird green sewer looking area with a ledge on either side. Head down to the end of the ledge you dropped down onto and then look across from you. Just fall down and drift a little bit into that open hole in the wall across from you. You'll now be looking at a gigantic ramp in front of you with a huge spiked death ball rolling down that ramp every couple of seconds. You have to start going up this ramp while avoiding the giant tumbling death balls. There are ledges on either side of you that you can jump up into to seek shelter and avoid getting crushed by a boulder. And don't worry, you don't have to go up the entire ramp, by the way. About halfway up the ramp, there should be a large hole in the floor that you can drop down through. Go ahead to the end of this short hallway you're in and turn left. All you need to do now is just head down the flight of stairs in front of you without getting mushed by the death boulders that will periodically roll through trenches across the staircase in front of you. Get past the boulder area and now you'll find yourself in a room that looks like this. A couple hive with 2 giant wheels on the wall across from one another and 2 glowing lenses, kind of like a mini version of the first encounter. This is a brief encounter designed to teach you a new mechanic. At the far right end of this Y-shaped hallway, you'll see a closed door door with 2 symbols, one on either side of the closed door. One symbol's kind of covered up a little bit, but you should still be able to see what it is. Your goal for this mini encounter is to open the door. Turn back and look at the giant wheels on the wall. You see how one symbol on each of the wheels is glowing bright orange? In order to open the closed door, you need to illuminate the 2 symbols that you saw by the door on the wheels. You'll need 1 symbol illuminated per each wheel. To change which symbol on the wheel is illuminated, you need to first kill a hive wizard and pick up the little item she drops on the ground when killed. Picking that up will give you heightened knowledge, which is basically 1 stack of knowledge. Dunking your stacks into the podium underneath the wheel on the wall will move the glow over 1 symbol. Actually, the number of stacks you dunk into the podium will determine how many spaces on the wheel the glow will move over. If you look at the wheel on the wall, you'll notice that there's a circle in the dead center that should be spinning in one of 2 directions. Whichever direction that wheel is spinning, when you dunk your stacks into the podium, that will determine the direction on the wheel in which the glow moves. In this example, the door I'm trying to open shows Scorn and Earth. I pick up the heightened knowledge from the dead wizard and head over to the wheel. I see that the Scorn symbol is just 3 spaces over to the right, so I need to move the glow over 3 spaces to the right. Unfortunately, the wheel in the center is spinning to the left. We shoot the little activation button above the giant wheel, which changes the direction of the spinning center wheel. It's spinning to the right now, yay. I dunk 1 stack of knowledge into the podium and boom, the glow moves over 1 space to the right. I still need to move it 2 more spaces to the right though, so I kill 2 more wizards, gain brimming knowledge, aka 2 stacks. I head back to the wheel, dunk them into the podium, and bam, the glow moves over 2 spaces to the right. Now it's on the correct symbol, so just do the exact same thing with the other wheel until both symbols from the closed door are glowing on the wheel, and now you can move on to the next room and Encounter 2. Welcome to Encounter 2. The goal of this encounter is to kill the boss, which is not what you'd expect. The boss of Encounter 2 are 4 large shriekers, which all together share 1 big health bar. Damaging any of them during the DPS phase will contribute to the same overall health bar collectively, if that makes sense. When you completely deplete the health bar all the way, they will all die, so here's how to do that. Here we have a top tier drawing of the Encounter 2 room. The 4 shriekers are at the far end of the room against the wall, and they cannot move. Just in front of each shrieker is kind of a small billboard sticking up out of the ground. There are 4 of them in total, and yes, I've labeled them from right to left, which might seem weird, but will make sense shortly. On my drawing, these are the green circles. The 4 yellow circles are 4 wheels, just like the ones you saw earlier in the mini encounter in the Y-shaped hallway. In order to begin the damage phase, at least one of the billboards in front of the shriekers needs to display the kill symbol. I'll show you how to put those symbols on the little billboards in a moment. Again though, when any of the billboards display the kill symbol, DPS will begin. Going back to our diagram, in a perfect world, the billboard that you want to show the kill symbol is billboard number 4. The reason being, every symbol you put on the little billboard in front of a shrieker means something. For example, putting the commune symbol on any of the billboards means that the shriekers will spawn big damaging yellow bee things that will track towards you and your team. I need to pause real quick and say that at the time of me writing this guide, we are still in the very early stages of knowing what each symbol means and does. Please check the pinned comment of today's video guide because I'll try to keep it up to date with the latest info of what each symbol does. Another example, if you put the knowledge symbol up on one of the billboards, it will apparently spawn more wizards into the area. Again, for the time being, it seems that the 2 symbols you need to care about the most are stop and kill. Putting the stop symbol up on one of the billboards won't necessarily stop ads from spawning into the area, but it will allegedly delay their spawn. Again, that is at least what the community believes right now. Again, if you're watching the video in the future, please check the pinned comment down below for potentially more information on what the hell these symbols actually do, because there's a lot of speculation going on right now. Either way, until we have 100% perfect knowledge on what every symbol does, I would say that for right now, I'd focus on making your billboard look like this. The stop symbol for billboards 1 through 3, and then finally the kill symbol on billboard number 4. So how do we get the symbols onto the billboards? Here's how. One of the 4 shriekers will always be open and looking around the room. Think of the Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings. You can see where where the Shrieker is looking because their vision is just a gigantic beam of light. In order to put the symbol from the wheel on the corresponding billboard, you first need to kill wizards and gain the knowledge buff that they drop on the floor, just like the mini encounter we did before. And just like the mini encounter before, you then take that knowledge buff and dunk it into one of the podiums beneath any of the wheels to move the glow either over to the left or to the right, depending on which way the little wheel in the center is spinning. Again, this is the exact same mechanic in the mini encounter just before you started up encounter 2. Check our diagram one more time. Whenever the next Shrieker opens up, it will not only look around, but it will look at its corresponding wheel, aka Shrieker 1 will look directly at wheel 1, Shrieker 2 will look directly at wheel 2, and so on. If the Shrieker looks at its corresponding wheel and then looks at any Guardian who is standing out in the open for around a second or so, it will then lock in whatever symbol on its matching wheel is glowing and copy that symbol onto its corresponding billboard. For example, here I am looking at wheel 1 and billboard 1. I can see that in order to illuminate the stop symbol on the wheel, I need to move the glow over 3 spaces to the left. First of all, as you can see, the little wheel in the dead center is spinning to the right. So first things first, I shoot the little activation button above the entire wheel, and now the little mini wheel is spinning to the left. Good. I go around the room and pick up 3 knowledge buff drops from 3 Dead Hive wizards, and I run back to the first wheel, dunk it into the podium, and the glow on the wheel moves over to the left 3 places. It is now on the stop symbol, which is where I want it to be. In a case of perfect timing, the corresponding Shrieker who happens to be awake looks at the wheel, which remember has the stop symbol glowing, then looks at me, and I stand still so it can look at me long enough to lock in the symbol. It looks at me long enough, and booyah, the symbol on the wheel is now locked onto the corresponding billboard. And now that we have billboard number 1 taken care of, it's time to take care of all the other billboards in the exact same manner. Remember, for the final billboard, we want the kill symbol. Thankfully, we have the glowing symbol on the 4th wheel set to kill, and the 4th Shrieker eye opens up. It looks at the wheel, and then I let it look at me for a few seconds. Hubba hubba, it locks in the kill symbol on the 4th and final billboard, and now, finally, damage can begin. You know the drill. Just drop a well and beam the Christ out of those Shriekers. I recommend Sleeper Simulant worked really well. Ads will very likely spawn in to harass you during DPS. It's just something you gotta deal with. Also, the Shriekers won't remain open 100% of the time during damage. They'll occasionally close every now and then for a second or so, which isn't a big deal, just minorly irritating. Again, you can damage any Shrieker you like, and the damage all goes to the same place. When the Shriekers all close back up and get re-shielded, rinse and repeat, run it back. Keep doing it over and over until the health bar is completely depleted and the Shriekers are dead. Gonna tell ya, a lot of this encounter is standing around like a jerk, waiting for the right frickin' Shrieker eye to open up so it can finally look at its freaking wheel and then look at you in order to lock up the symbol. Just be patient, clear ads, stay alive, prep your wheels, and get it done. Before getting to encounter 3, you need to open the door via a weird little minigame that Bungie cooked up. The big Shriekers from encounter 2 will now just be large dead balls. You need to take one of them, doesn't matter which one, and move them across the room by shooting it until they roll into the dish in front of the encounter 2 loot chest. Do this carefully, don't go too fast, you might mess it up a little bit. After that, fall down the big waterfall, then look for a big white doorway, kind of shaped vaguely like a skull, I don't know. Head through that doorway, turn right, and just follow the red lights until you start finding red on your radar and enemies to shoot and kill. As you progress further, you'll eventually be in a wide open area where you kind of have to go up to go forward, so to speak. After that though, you'll see a big awesome worm skeleton, and to get to the next area, just go through the rib cage / tunnel into the next room. Alright, a quick mini encounter here. You'll be in a big room with many lenses. There may be some lenses you have to shoot some random hive gunk off of. In short, there will be 2 beams of light, each associated with a different symbol that you'll need to bounce around the room and guide into the wheel of its matching symbol. In our room, we had a symbol for enter and also a symbol for worm. We activate both beams of light and now have to re-angle the lenses in the room so that the enter light path winds up in the giant wheel with the enter symbol on it, and the worm light path winds up in the giant wheel with the worm symbol on it. This might take you a few minutes angling the different lenses in the room, but when you match up a beam of light, you'll see text that says the pyramid responds to a command, and when both light paths are set to the correct wheel, the glowing barrier will go down, allowing you to head into the final pre-boss fight room. If you get trapped in this room and you don't know where to go, don't worry, we were kinda lost too. Apparently, you have to shoot this exact door, which you might not have known was a door. Shoot it repeatedly to make it open up. Open it all the way, and walk into the boss room. Alright, final encounter. Your goal is to kill Karev the Erased. Here's how the encounter works. Even though it might look like there's only one room, there's actually three. Well, 3.5, kind of. Here's another top tier diagram for y'all to check out. You spawn here in the main room, but there's actually a side room to your left and a side room off to your right. There's also a somewhat hidden area under the boss, 2 ramps that lead down to a small downstairs area, which contain the stop and give symbols. More on those in a minute. If you look at the boss, you'll notice that behind him is a giant wheel. In order to activate the DPS phase, you need to illuminate 3 very specific symbols on that wheel. Here, we have a close-up of the wheel. It's actually a little bit easier than you think. You'll need to either light up the left 3 symbols, aka these 3 right here, or you'll need to light up the 3 right side symbols, aka these 3 right here. How do you know which symbols to light up though, the left or the right? Great question. Just like the very first encounter, we need to find a flying truth speaker Grim who is floating around in, you guessed it, one of the 3 rooms, most likely one of the side rooms. While killing enemies and staying alive, you need to branch out and find that truth speaker, kill it, and take note of what symbol it drops on the floor. In this example, I kill the truth speaker and it drops the pyramid shape on the floor. I head back to the main room and look at the wheel. I can see that the pyramid shape is on the right side of the wheel. Therefore, the 3 symbols we need to illuminate are the 3 ones on the left side of the wheel. I know that sounds weird, but that's the way it works. TLDR, whatever symbol the truth speaker had, illuminate the 3 symbols that are on the other side of the wheel. As we can see, pyramid is on the right side, so we are going to illuminate the left. In this example, by the way, you'll notice that 2 of the symbols we need to illuminate, witness and light, are already both illuminated. All we have to do is both illuminate the drink symbol, but we also need to de-illuminate the worm symbol, which, as you can see, is lit up, but we don't want it to be. Returning to our original map of the encounter, the symbols here never change location. So, one player heads to shut off the worm light in the right side room, and one person stays in the middle room to illuminate the drink symbol. Regarding illuminating the symbols, this is kind of a weird ordeal. Take a look right here. In order to illuminate the drink symbol, I need to re-angle the lens right up here. As you can see though, it's tangled up in strand bindings, and I won't be able to move it until it's not bound up anymore. How do we do that? Well, look around the room for enemies named Unwritten Attendant. When you shoot and kill these guys, you'll gain a buff on your HUD called Unwritten Empowerment. With that buff, I can now shoot strand entanglements that are tying up the lens. If the buff expires, kill another attendant and keep at it. When the lens is no longer encumbered, I can rotate it, directing the beam into the drink symbol on the wheel, which is what I needed in that example. Although a few lenses are, not every one is going to be tangled up in strand. In the very left side room, we had to shoot a little button to lift up a wall, which granted access to the witness symbol. Oh yeah, regarding those side rooms, by the way, they're kind of annoying to get to. The left side room has another one of those annoying doors that will only open if you shoot it a bunch, which again, real pain in the ass. And the right side room has one way in and a different way out. The way in is, look for this weird slanted rock sticking out of the wall and jump on top of it to lower the rock, letting you into the room. To get out, look for the little red light on the wall, that one right up there. Duck down into that little hole and crouch walk to get back to the main area. Okay, when you've illuminated the exact 3 symbols on the wall that you wanted to light up, i.e. the ones on the opposite side of the symbol shown by the truth speaker, it is damage time. Initiate DPS by walking up to the wheel and pushing the button on the podium in front of it. Be sure to take cover right after that because the room will immediately burst into flames and you'll take a lot of damage if you're not taking cover behind a wall or pillar. When the boss's shields are down, it is damage time. Shoot the hell out of the big guy, who will not be standing still, by the way, until damage phase is over. Because he is extremely mobile, I highly recommend a divinity if you have one. When you're done, take it from the top, rinse and repeat until the big guy is dead. Be sure to check the pinned comment if you're watching this guide in the future. I'm writing this on day 1 of the dungeon, so if more or additional info comes to light that makes clearing the dungeon easier, I'll be sure to share it down in the pinned comment. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to bed now. See you next time.